This is following the State of the Union. This is what makes Marianne Williamson 2024 such a joke because it's almost like they didn't even consider this part of it. Bernie Sanders failed to defeat Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. We know it was rigged, but you guys know the game. You guys know the game you guys trying to hijack. So Bernie failed to defeat Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden with the support of the entire progressive apparatus. See, I mean everybody. Nina Turner, Justice Democrats, every single progressive was on board.
Everybody.
Majority report. Hell, even Jimmy Dore was on board on Bernie.
Yeah. 20, even Chris Hayes, even Shama Sawant wasn't, who don't even vote Democrat. They were there trying to support Bernie Sanders.
You had everybody on board. Everyone, all full steam ahead. I quit my job in 2020. I was knocking on doors. I met a ton of people who did the same. There was this dude who came from fucking Sweden. It was weird, and I'm mad. I'm blank on this guy's name because I hung out with this dude for like a week, and he was a savage on knocking on doors because he knew social democrat policies up and down. He had this great speech. He took advantage of the fact that he was from Sweden, so he'd go to people like, "Yo, trust me, man. I have single payer healthcare system. I have to live here for a few years. I will never go out. I hate the system." He'll hook people using that. He was fantastic. So the point is, all of these people all around the world came together to fight for Bernie Sanders, and he still couldn't do it. But the boutique left has a plan, CJ. Despite the fact that we have completely fractured, quote-unquote, left, well, now you got people who woke up to the idea that electoral politics is not the way. We're going to anoint someone who failed to give any momentum started last election. We're going to have him as the left representative to do something that never been done before, primarying a sitting president in your party. And she's going to do that despite the fact that the Democratic Party put South Carolina in front, CJ, and the fact that she don't even have progressives on her side. This is unbelievable. See, I was telling you before, I was reading this yesterday. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, the people who were pushing Marianne Williamson, the people who were pushing forced the primary on Biden, did not give any thought about this at all. There was no pros and cons list that was developed here. They're winging it. Just vibes, bro. Look at it. Let's read this article. I didn't preface it enough. Progressive talk about replacing Biden flames out. And when I saw the headline, I was thinking like, yo, okay, this might be clickbait. Let me read here. And it's actually unbelievable. It's not clickbait. I was like, this may be like liberal clickbait. No. So we played, CJ. We did a segment of AOC on Rachel Maddow where she was defending Joe Biden. This article proves that this was a coordinated push by the progressives in order to silence any progressive campaign challenger from the left. Because now they're saying, oh my God, Joe Biden's State of the Union address was so good, it caught us off guard. I can't believe how progressive he's being. Wow, no reason for us to primary challenge him again. Let me read it. Listen to this. Listen to this. As President Biden prepares to launch another White House bid, the nascent movement to find a replacement to run in his place is flamed out, with Democrats in both wings of the party pleased. Which I would say there's one wing. Like, can we stop pretending there's two wings on this bird? Nigga, that's a bird with one goddamn wing. They're all supporting Ukraine funding, all for Biden 2024. I dropped the term moderate Democrat and corporate Democrat. That's just me. But anyway, both wings of the party pleased with the expected direction of his campaign and no alternative in sight. So the corporate media not even looking at Marianne Williamson. They look at Marianne like, yeah, no alternative in sight, we said. Progressives have wondered how Biden will position himself in 2024, having seen him both tack to the middle and veer to the left at different points in office. Never at any point did he veer to the left. At no points. But they got a major sign of reassurance after this week's address. More liberal firepower is in the work. And this is coming from the progressives. I have to say, the speech was really good, says Angelo Greco, a Democratic consultant who worked on Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. As far as Biden can be pulled to the left, as far as Biden can be pulled to the left and center what his priorities are, I thought it was masterful. And then they proceed to say progressives were indeed delighted with much of what they heard on Tuesday night, as AOC showed on Rachel Maddow. When Biden laid out what many consider to be their most pressing priorities around taxes, entitlement programs, healthcare, and reform for massive industries like pharmaceuticals and oil. So now, what the progressives is doing, exactly what I predicted would happen. It's like, now they're using the State Union address, like, okay, Biden is giving anything we want, so we don't want to divide the field. We don't want to muddy the water. We don't want to make a weak candidate by attacking them so Trump or DeSantis can win in 2024. So what does this mean? What this shows that Marianne Williamson in 2024 is dead on arrival. Because not only will she be having the task of going against a president, she's going against a president with no progressive support. No one endorsing her. Because look, there's another person, Green, like others in progressive movement, were especially thrilled with Biden's approach to Social Security. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown being quoted in this article. They all say, oh my God, he's standing up for Social Security. He's speaking with workers. Biden is progressive, so why would we want to primary Joe Biden? So this is what's going to happen. Apparently, the boutique left who made these ideas and plans and everything about the kind of stuff, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have progressives that saying Biden is progressive. You're going to have Marianne Williamson who's going to try and fail in a spectacular way to try to go after Biden. You're going to go after Biden despite no foreign policy criticisms of him. Okay. But in this race, you're also going to have people that say, oh, you cannot go after Biden too hard, Marianne. What if Marianne Williamson start calling Biden corrupt? Then you're going to have people like Bernie who did the same thing to Zephyr Teachout and threw her under the bus and say you've been too hard on Biden. You're going to say, hey, Marianne, calm down. You can't say that about Joe Biden because you can't weaken Joe Biden for the upcoming election. So she won't even be able to run the evil mean campaign while being treated with grace in this party. So I want to get your thoughts on this, CJ.
It's completely dead on arrival because when you think about it, like we talk about it more philosophically with her, but when you think about the day-to-day, the strategy, the campaigning, who's going to campaign with her? All the Democrats are going to be pushing Joe Biden. Literally any person that would campaign with her, we're talking about any of the progressives, any of the 100 members of progressives would campaign with her. None of them can campaign with her. They got to support Joe Biden. So my question to you, Nick, is do you think Joe Biden... Let me back up. So we're in fairy tale season. Anytime the power is split, which we have now, we have the Republicans have the House and Democrats. Anytime, that's when both sides want to shout the most because they know nothing's gonna happen. So my question to you: do you think he was doing that? He's shouting the most because he know nothing's gonna happen, or he was saying his speech the way he was so that no Democratic challenger would come up? Do you think?
So the way we'll know is that Biden, this State of the Union was meant to be like his unofficial campaign launch. Like you see him test a lot of his Republican attacks. That's why he started lying. And we did an RBN Live explaining this. He started lying aggressively. So this was regarding his record on the working class. He lied a lot about that. This was his I'm here. I'm a strong candidate going to 2024. And all the corporate media outlets were reporting that. So they're like, oh my God, this speech shows that Biden's gonna be stronger than ever in 2024. Now, why is this so significant? So it's significant for him to have the speech and then come out strong and then have progressives say that he's amazing. So then that stomps out any will for or any political capital for a progressive challenge. And that's why it's so important to have AOC on Rachel Maddow right when it happens to help plant that narrative. Oh my God, we're so shocked at how great Biden is being now, right? So to answer your question, I think the point of the State Union address was to kill any conversation in legitimate professional managerial class circles on primary and Joe Biden. Now, when you read the article, like I see quotes from Sherrod Brown, Elizabeth Warren. I cut the article short because it's a pretty lengthy article. But you got all these people saying that it's not even necessary for us to do this. They're like, the reason why you want to primary Joe Biden is because you think he's weak. After that State of the Union address is proof that he's not weak. The idea that left-wing Democrats will recruit and convince someone to run against the sitting president was always considered a bit outside the mainstream, but that didn't entirely stop some from privately talking about Sanders or even Elizabeth Warren or Sherrod Brown as possible choices before ultimately conceding that most top fixtures in the party would not mount a primary challenge. That became even more clear as Biden acted on their wish list items, including pinning student loan forgiveness and signing the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes major provisions on clean areas like climate change. Now, we know that whole article is bullshit. That whole paragraph is bullshit. But the reason why I'm pointing this up is to answer your question. This is the talking point you're going to hear from progressives. They're going to say, why should we primary Joe Biden? You see what he did on climate? You see what he did on student loan forgiveness? You see the child tax credit? He the most progressive president since FDR. Why would we want to primary him? So not only do you have RBN on their heels, they try to pretend we're the only divisive ones, right? Not only do you have the RBN left, that's a hard no on Marianne Williamson. You also have so we are hard no on Marianne. Then you also have the DSA centrist social democrats. They're also a no on Marianne Williamson. So she's a no on people from her right and people on her left. But somehow she's gonna miraculously pull together a coalition that's going to dethrone the Democratic Party establishment. Does that make sense to you guys?
And this last part, Nick, I may have to go back and read some of this, but this last part of this same article,
glad you got
many progressives admit to wishing that someone can pass their purity test. What is this phrasing? Many progressives admit to wishing that someone who passed their purity test would have emerged earlier in the Biden administration, in Biden's first term, and would have been perceived as a credible challenger by now. But most also acknowledge that has simply not happened, and so they're not even acknowledging Marianne Williamson as a person that can even challenge her. But this purity test, like, because leftists don't say that when talking about our own politics. So that to me literally tells me that Hanny Trudeau is really not really like a progressive. She's marketed as a kind of progressive, but she's
not, you know, I have never once told Rome, like, man, what's up, Rome? Your purity test, like that. I swear to God, that word literally never comes out of a mouth of a true Marxist or leftist at all. Right. I don't think I legitimately ever use that term without halfway joking. Like,